2025 is almost over. This is probably going to be the last podcast you see from Realty Hack. And it's a good one. We're talking market conditions with Mike Frost of the Landy Frost Group. And it was a great interview. He's a great guy. I didn't know him before now. We had a lot in common. I loved his insights on where the market's going, where it's been, and what he's up to for the next year, because we are planning some big things as well, which, by the way, take a look at our website, realtyhack.com. Check out the summit. It's coming up. We've got big things planned. We're going to get you, if you want to go to this summit, we got big things planned. We're going to reset your business. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about video. We're going to have amazing keynote speakers and panelists. You do not want to miss it. It's our fourth one, and I promise you it's going to be the best one. But for now, let's check in with Mike Frost. All right, let's get started. All right, so we were just talking. We've met 2 or 3 times, right?
Sure.
So we don't really know each other.
Correct.
And I think that's pretty, it's interesting for a podcast.
Yeah.
I know you're well respected in the industry, and I thought it'd be great to have you in here. Before we get into your story, let's talk about the market real quick, okay? Because it's like weird.
Sure.
I know we had our best month of the year in September.
Okay.
And then the last 2 months have not been that great. How's it been for you?
It's been an interesting year. I mean, I think overall it's obviously challenging for a lot of people. I've been pretty fortunate. We're actually about to have, since 21, our best year. We should do over 100 million this year for our team.
Wow.
And so, a lot of that is just consistently showing up and doing the basic stuff and our follow-ups and really being present in front of our clients. But as a whole, it's obviously been incredibly challenging. I think sellers are still unrealistic to where the market's at. I mean, if you look at, sold price, original list price to sold price kind of shows you how unrealistic they are. And then I think the challenge with buyers is there's just still uncertainty in the market. I think we started off this year in a way that I was very hopeful that we were kind of
Me too.
I think a lot of people were waiting on a few things. One, who was going to be in office. And like it or not, we knew who it was. And then, there was no more talk of Fed cuts. And then, we ended the year like 1.5% down, which I would say relatively flat.
Yeah.
And so I felt like there was a little bit of like consistency where people will be comfortable moving forward. And then obviously March hit and all the tariff stuff. And I feel like we haven't really gotten any type of certainty back in the market. And now here we are talking about Fed cuts again. And I think buyers are back to waiting for our rates going to come down, and is Austin, prices continuing to fall. And so it's been a challenge for that.
Yeah. And I know, I finally admitted I was wrong in like August because I thought the market was going to do a lot better, like starting the spring. And we had we actually did have a better than I would have, considering how slow spring was for the seasonality of it, right? I think summer was better.
Agreed.
And one of the things that I've noticed is I follow the Reventure guy. Do you know who that is?
I'm not sure if I do.
So he's on YouTube, and my buddy Jonathan always sends me his stuff, and it's just like it's not good, right? He's always talking about like prices declining and all this stuff, and to the point where I don't even want to watch him. Okay, and then he's like, but now let's look at Austin.
Right.
Because Austin's values have dropped so low that okay, I'm going to pull these numbers out of my head, right?
Sure.
But 3 years ago, the average household income had to be $145,000 in order to afford the average price range.
Correct.
Okay. Now it's let's call it 111,000. Is what it needs to be, and the average household income is at like 105. So we're almost there.
Right.
So I think that, and I'm optimistic to a fault, but I mean, looking at the data, I think that we're going to see a fairly good year.
I feel pretty good about 26. And, we actually just did a thing with the team where we were kind of going back, the last 10 years. And if you just look at the trajectory of Austin the pandemic was obviously insane, but if you take from where we are at and historically where we got, like we're right in line, it really is. Yes, we had a huge fall from the pandemic, 20+% down, but like where we're at in historic figures, we're right where Austin's always been.
Yeah.
And I think the truly, I think the biggest challenge is how people get their information these days.
Yeah.
Like if you look at what happened in '08 and like that was far different than where we're at today. I mean, people are getting their information from podcasts, from some influencer that has nothing to do with real estate. Like I feel like if one more client sends me something from somebody from Instagram or TikTok and that's like gospel to them, I'm like, I want to throw my phone.
Yeah.
But I feel that we've had such a black eye in Austin over the past few years where, 2021, we were the top of every chart for all of the good stuff. The last 2 years has been nothing but negative about Austin. Nobody should be moving here. All the companies are leaving. And I do feel that we are starting to finally see some good news come out via social media, which is where I think most people get their information these days.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that the timing of that with some Fed relief, hopefully, I think I hate saying it, but I don't know how great this next job report's going to be, which obviously, for those that don't know, obviously we need to see more unemployment to get the 10-year to come down a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think there's an opportunity that we could see some rate reduction in the beginning of the year with some good headlines. I think that there's so much buyer demand on the sidelines that are just waiting.
Yeah.
We could have a strong 26.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, I don't know. My prediction is definitely better than this year. And right. And like for me in my company, and you're having a record breaking year, right? For me, it doesn't have to get that much better for it for me to be happy.
Right.
Okay. Because it's not like we're doing bad. It's just been tough to sell. It's a grind for agents, right? Okay.
I have a question for that. How has that been for you guys? Obviously, you guys have had tremendous growth, this year and, previous years with the amount of agents you guys have. I'm curious what your thoughts are on agents that are like entering the market today compared to agents that entered in the market in 2020. I almost feel that it's financially, it's obviously challenging.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going to have so many better agents that are more equipped to handle a different market than those that entered the market when you'd go to the grocery store and pick up 5 clients.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, how are you guys experiencing that with like your growth and,
Yeah.
what?
So, good question, because this came up. There's a few things that came up. I was at Zillow Unlock last week.
Yeah.
Okay. And, one thing is, the agents that we already had, that we saw a lot of fallout, in the industry,
For sure.
because it was just easy if you got a buyer, you just have to, you might have to fight to get that your listing, to get your offer accepted, but it wasn't that hard.
Right.
They thought it was hard.
Correct.
Right. And now I think we're going to have a better group of agents. Now, we don't hire brand spanking new agents usually. We've got a few teams,
Mm-hmm.
and if they have capacity, then we'll give them to them. But it's typically that's fewer and far between. What we do hire are agents between 1 year and 3 year that have done between 1 million and 3 million. And the reason that is most cases, they're not at a place that provides lead training,
Right.
Support structure, and they've made it,
Right.
Yeah,
they survived.
Yeah. So I think that for one, like if we can, look, that group of agents, 1 to 3 years, 1 to 3 million, we have, it's almost unilaterally 200% increase in production in year one with us. So, we can really help them. And then we also hire more veteran agents, but people that have been 5 years or more, that do anywhere from 5 to 7. We love to hire agents that had done, 8 to 10 to 15 and have dropped.
Sure.
Because we can plug them into our systems. But one of the things that the chief economist at Zillow said last week was that we are going to be one of the last professions that, if at all, that AI replaces.
Right.
And so I think right now,
We just opened doors, right?
yeah, right, exactly. But I think they said that a lot that he predicts that we're going to go from 1.6 million agents in the U.S. to 2 million inside of a year and a half.
I don't feel that AI is going to take our job. I think that there's so much of a human element, so much psychology that goes into this. I think that what will happen is the agents that, adapt and grow and learn how to use AI.
Yeah.
Those are my concerns. Like the people that can have better marketing and better tools and we were actually just talking about it in our partner meeting today.
Yeah.
We have to adapt from like the old school mentality to like, there's so many tools out there.
Yeah.
It's the agents that are really buying into that I'm concerned about taking my business, not just AI in general.
Right, and that's what I mean. I am obsessed with it. Like I spend some. I mean, it's almost a problem how much stuff I do with AI. Like and if anybody comes to my Realty Hack, hopefully you'll come to Realty Hack Summit in January. I have like a 10 or 15 minute presentation of how it was
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I want to go back. I wanted to kind of start this off with the market, right?
Sure.
But I want to know more about you. Let's where are you from? How'd you get into business? Tell me your trajectory and your team and everything.
Sure. I'll give you the short version of it. I'm from a very small town, and when I mean small, there's still not a traffic light there. Small town in Maine. Grew up there. Went to college in Vermont. I moved to Austin 2 weeks after college in Vermont, and I did not know anybody here, and I've always been a very social person, and so I was a very big fish in a small pond at college. So moving to Austin, literally not knowing a single person to my age, I was like going out trying to make friends by myself. And when you come from the Northeast, people are not like they are in the South. Like people are just not as friendly.
Yeah.
And so I got a bar job just to meet some people, and told my parents I'd do that for 6 months. And 13 years later, I ended up owning 3 bars on 6th Street. And so, I started at the door. I worked my way up, and I feel like I've been very fortunate to have been raised that my mom always told me, I don't care if you're cleaning toilets, be the best at it.
Yeah.
And so I've had that mindset and mentality with everything that I've ever done. And so I just grinded and worked my way up the ladder and got an opportunity at some sweat equity into some ownership in 2010. And then ended up selling my bars in 2016 and 2017.
So wait, I've got questions on this. So when you went to, what did you go to college for?
Originally I went for like sports broadcasting. It was a really good school for that. They had really good connections with ESPN and like the Weather Channel.
Okay.
And then truthfully, was a bit too social, if you will, in college.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And
The 3 semesters I went.
yeah. And it was an extremely demanding program, because not only were you doing your typical classes, but they also required 40 hours in studio. And I was too social and too young and stupid to take it serious. Probably the best thing. But I then got into psychology and human services. I wanted to work at the time. Thought I wanted to work with kids and just be more of service. And that was a challenging idea of a job, just because I took too much of it home with me. Like one of my courses in I think it was my sophomore year was to check out all the different programs and stuff like that. And man, it was tough to not like go home and like wear that pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And like our teacher was like, if you can't separate this from when you go home, like this may not be the right gig for you. And so I was a psychology and human services major for, I ended up only graduating with my associate's degree, because it just wasn't really a path that I thought I was going to go down. And rather than just spend a whole bunch more money, I moved to Austin.
Yeah, well, you're officially more educated than I am.
I would say my parents probably were not too stoked at my college performance, but
okay, so the bars that you started bartending?
No, I started at the door.
Oh, okay.
And I started working at Chug and Monkey in 2005.
Oh, wow.
And then they opened a new venue. I went over, started bartending over there, and worked my way up into management and GM. And in 2010, some group came in that wanted to buy it, and they were not going to buy it unless I came with the bar. And so we worked out a deal that I would stay, and I took over ownership. And 2 years later, we bought another venue. And then our third was in 2014, I think.
Yeah.
And at that time, for those that have lived in Austin a long time, 6th Street used to be a cool place. It used to be all of the clientele that you'd want to hang out with, and sales were great. And then, Austin grew, and all these entertainment districts started popping up, and we were the bottom of the totem pole. And I saw the writing on the wall. Was looking to expand to other cities, and my partner was, he's married with 2 kids and had a different vision. And so I just saw that it may be the best time for me to step away from it. I was already starting to be a 10 o'clock in bed kind of guy. And, those 4 o'clock in the morning nights were just not for me. And so, yeah, I sold the venues, and then, I saw a lot of guys like Toddy, David Madrano, Anthony Gibson, Wes Womack. Wes was actually my mentor in the bar industry. I worked for those guys forever. And I'd seen a lot of guys be very successful in real estate. I believe that your network is your net worth, and I am very fortunate to have, humbly one of the largest networks of people I know in Austin, just 13 years in the bar industry.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Wes, and I literally knew nothing about real estate. I'd only ever lived downtown. I didn't even have a car. My entire life was downtown. And so I had dinner with Wes and his wife. He was at JB Goodman at the time. That night, I'm unfortunately probably too spontaneous of a person. I would have told you I was going to join Wes. I was going to be the first agent he had. And the next day I reached out to Tim Landy and said, hey man, I'm thinking about real estate. Can we grab coffee? And by the end of that meeting, he was like, I don't want to steal you from Wes, but I'd love an opportunity to mentor you. And maybe one day we have something. Worked out well.
Yeah.
And
who was Tim with at the
time? Tim had moved over. He started with Ricky Kane, and
Okay.
Obviously great systems, and he was a great mentor for Tim. But Tim was at 12 Rivers at that time, and me coming out of the bar industry, obviously their office was downtown, and Tim's gave me the best advice, and I tell this to now all of our agents of, you're not just getting interviewed by the brokerage, like you're interviewing the brokerage.
Yeah.
So I went over to their office, and it just truthfully wasn't my vibe at all. I could not see myself going into that every day and actually being productive.
Which was at the JB Goodwin, or?
Yeah, the JB Goodwin office. And then, I went over and met Paul and Kevin at 12 Rivers, and, by the end of that meeting, I knew that was the right place for me. And, those guys were incredible mentors. They're now, family to me. And,
good guys.
So, yeah. And so, I joined, Tim was my mentor. And that was incredible. I shadowed him like probably a psycho. You would have thought he was cheating on his wife if you saw how many times I was calling and texting, but it was great. I just soaked up everything I could from him and people like Toddy and Kevin and Paul and some of the other agents over there. I feel like the more you can be a sponge and listen to successful people, it's funny. I think so many people get caught up in commissions and where they should go, and if it should truly be illegal for you not to have a mentor or be on a team to start real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a pretty intense program here for newer agents, and then even agents like if an agent wants to take some of our leads, like they got to be prepared. Like if you were an agent, you wanted to come over here, like, hey, I just want to sell real estate. We're not going to make you do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to give you a lot of suggestions. But you want to take our leads, you're going to have to go through some programs. These are our clients.
It's you're talking about someone's biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah.
Highly litigious business. Mm-hmm. And you got people that are taking a course that is a complete joke.
Yep.
You learn nothing in that, truthfully, of what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then you go out and you're dealing with someone's biggest transaction. It's insane to me. And so anyway, it was great. Our first year, thank you to my network. My fifth or sixth transaction was a $7 million deal.
Wow.
It was a Facebook lead that came through from an old bar acquaintance. And, that guy has now changed my life and my career. I've done an immense amount of business with him. And, but he's also now a great friend, someone I went to their wedding.
Yeah.
And, that got me nominated for A-Board Rookie of the Year. Kind of put me a little bit on the map.
Yeah.
And then
what year was that?
So I joined in 2017, and then so I guess that would have been 2018 when they had the awards. And then at that point, we brought on we needed an assistant, and at this time, my sister had just graduated. She's my youngest sister. She had just graduated from Texas State. She was at a Remax office and hated her job. And I was like, hey, maybe we should hire my sister, And Tim was like, I don't know about that. What if I get mad and I have to come down? Or, well, now Callie just got nominated for Young Professional of the Year. She's now a partner in our team at Landy Frost Group. And she is literally the glue that keeps us together. I feel like if she decided she was quitting, I would be quitting real estate too.
So she's operations.
She's our director of ops. She's our TC. I mean, this year she's, in her best year, she handled almost 120 transactions on her own.
So what's to make up your team now?
So we started the team in 2021 was kind of when we got going. So it's Tim, Callie, and I are the partners. And then in total, there's 10 of us.
Oh, cool.
We have Callie, she has an assistant, and then the rest are our agents.
Okay. And how do you support your agents in the sense of what's your value proposition?
That has been such an eye-opening experiencing over the last year. We separated from 12 Rivers and went over to Compass about a year ago. And, we always struggled because we were the only team at 12 Rivers of like, do we provide enough? Like, you have people like yourself that are offering these leads and, it's tough. But at the time, we were only really bringing on newer agents,
Mhm.
either brand new or first or second year.
Yeah.
And as you know, there's so much that goes into training those people. And we always felt that like we were so hands-on, but we didn't really have anything to compare it to.
Hmm.
And when we've gone to Compass, the beautiful thing about this industry is there's a million different ways to be successful.
Yeah.
And, what we may do may not work for everybody else, but for us, it works very well. And so I think for us, our business proposition is how hands-on we are.
Mhm.
We are extremely thorough from like the interview process, which I actually want to talk about in a second because I think it's important for other teams and whatnot if they hear this. But we are super critical about who it is that we bring on. Our culture is everything to us. Like I was just telling your associate, like we're about to have our Thanksgiving dinner tonight. We have a private chef, and everybody's partners are there, and we just really want to have that family environment. But we have a 90-day onboarding training. They get about a 300-page binder for when they join us, and we want them to call Tim and I for everything. We go on buyer's appointments, we go on listing appointments. We want them to shadow as much as they possibly can. And so, with that, it is very time consuming, and which is why we're very particular about who we bring on.
Yeah.
And we hire very slow because it takes so much time out of our way from our own business and our own lives and our own families. But we love the mentorship. I love to be a part of watching somebody change their life. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? We've had a couple very cool stories to see where some of the best agents, Jenny Law is now one of the top agents over at Sotheby's.
Yeah.
The girl owns Treviso. Raphael was rookie of the year. We have a guy on our team right now, Mitch Ammons, who is going to be a monster. His network is probably bigger than mine. And it's just been very cool to watch him be a sponge. And then we have girls like Kimberly on our team. She was a rising star. We had Sam was a rising
Yeah.
star. And
So a lot of what you're doing is, it seems like, well, first of all, you're very peculiar about who you hire.
Mhm.
And you also want to know that they have resources in terms of, okay, do you have integrity, but do you have a network you can tap into,
100%.
and then you're going to teach them how to tap into that network.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like I said, there's a million ways to be successful.
Yeah.
Like I have never been one to do leads.
Yeah.
I'm not good at like the cold calling or anything like that.
Yeah.
So where it works very well for people to what we say, give them the fish. We want to like teach them where to fish
Yeah.
and build their network. And so a lot of what we do is all relationship based, and I take it to an insanely unhealthy level. My fiance would tell you that we are busy way too much.
Yeah.
But I've been invited in 7 years in real estate. I just got invited to my 11th client wedding.
Yeah.
But that's how much I pour into the relationships because, I just think it organically grows. And so I'm fortunate enough to work with the clients I want to work with and the price points that I want to work with in the areas that I want to work with.
Yeah.
And we try to instill that within our agents and find what is their passion, what are their whys, because it may not be the same as mine.
Yeah.
We ask a lot of those questions up front in the interview process so that I know how to coach them, because as a leader, it's been interesting to, I see there's a couple people on my team that I see an insane amount of potential in. And I think that they could be doing 20, 25 million if they wanted to, but that's not what they want. You know what I mean? They want to have more balance in their life. And so as a coach and mentor, I have to adapt and be like, maybe they don't want to be as psychotic as me and work 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And so I need to be able to find the way to be the best coach for them and their needs and their desires. And so that has been a struggle for me.
Yeah.
To try to learn how to do that. But I love that journey and to watch them succeed.
Yeah. 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 There's, and it's so funny. We're talking about like taking leads and whatnot. Like we have really tried, we bring in a lot of leads, right? But our whole mission statement is we make good agents into great agents,
Mhm.
right? And we're very upfront with our agents is that like you take our leads because you don't have your pipeline built up yet.
Right.
And we also call, we talk about the race to 200 past clients. That should do a repeatable business. because if you're working that system right. But here's the funny thing about it, all right? And this happens with our agents, have the agents, and I think it's a cautionary tale for any agents. When you get Zillow leads, or any lead, really, any good lead, okay, it can become addictive.
Of course.
But the problem is like, the margin for us is not that great.
I
Okay.
feel like that is the biggest misconception with teams and brokerages.
Oh, yeah. And so, we have 8 hours of training a month. That's two every week. We've dedicated 2 hours of that, one training a month, to closing by referral. And it's crazy when an agent's like, oh, I'm just so tired of taking leads. And like, why are you not at that training?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really good, and I think that's what it's the struggle that we're going through now. It's not a struggle that we're going through. We have the solution. Is the struggle we're going through is really pushing these agents, because we don't want, like, if you're taking leads, it should be a 2 to 3 year period, right? And then you should not have to do that anymore.
Right. Yep.
You okay, so let me ask you, would you guys do any like leadership programs like EOS or Pinnacle or anything like that?
I haven't.
How do you structure, like, I know your sister's operations, you and Tim are their partners. How do you handle the, the leadership flow or structure of your team?
So that's a good question. Kind of leads to what I wanted to go back to. So, when we first started, it was peak pandemic, right? Everybody was crushing. That year we had 5 agents. We did 119 million. Like, we had 2 agents combined, brand new agents that did over 50 million.
Wow.
And to be honest, did we probably think that we were a little hot shit at the moment? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But that was also a little bit of the market. And a very humbling thing is, obviously those 2 went off to be individual agents and be successful. And the next 3 agents we brought on are not even in real estate.
Yeah.
And we had to take a pretty good look at ourselves. And, we are very humble guys. And we were like, okay, how do we make this better? And so we joined the Tom Ferry coaching program.
Awesome.
Was truly the best thing that we did, because we had a lot of great ideas. And, Tim came from a great team that had a ton of structure and organization. I'm not that.
Yeah.
Callie is that organized one. And we basically we stripped the team to the foundation.
Yeah.
And we built it from scratch, and we did it the right way. And we found out, like, who are Tim and I as coaches? Who do we want to have as agents? And we don't deviate from that at all.
Yeah.
And so, I think I will take leadership advice from anybody that I can get it from. I think we'll even take it from a new agent that maybe came from another team or another brokerage. And if they were doing something well, I have no ego about it. I'll make it better.
Absolutely.
And so we are always trying to be better and going to different, whether it's networking events or, going out of town for some of these retreats or whatnot. It's
conferences.
You got to stay on top of your game and see what other people are doing, and learn, and be humble enough that there's other people out there doing it better, and we can always make it better.
Yeah. So I will tell you, the number one, if I were to pick one thing that has led to my company's success, it's absolutely, no doubt, conferences. And the reason that is not necessarily the content, because that's hit and miss, right? But I mean, I go to 4 to 5 a year, okay? And I've been going to it for almost 20 years.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is Wailopo. They had one in April of this year, and the reason I like it is because they have panels and presentations of people like me, people like you, like that are sharing stuff, and their major takeaways rather than just fluff, right?
Sure.
But if I go to one of these things, I'm like, I know everybody. I've been doing it for years. I get home, I can call any of these guys, and I remember probably about, I think it was 2016, one of my agents, my top agent at the time, I had like 15 agents, I think.
Okay.
And this agent left, and she was like, Ryan, you say you're available, but you're not. But
Yeah,
because I wasn't, because I was producing at the time too.
sure.
And I was just kind of crushed. And I talked to a friend of mine in Toronto, and she was like, "Okay, we were part of this community of a lead provider and a really good community." Okay, and she's like, Ryan, in this group, you and I are the top 10%. Okay. Um, I'm going to these coaching programs, and I can share this with you later, right?
Mm.
I just don't want to say names from here,
Sure,
but
sure.
yeah, there's these coaching programs over here, and you and I are going to be the bottom 5%, and that's the room you want to be
I
in.
was just gonna say that's where I'd much rather play.
Yeah, and so I went to that, and I was just, and I guess my point behind the conference is like you're not you're not going to share as much with someone in your market. You're just not. I mean, I don't have any qualms about it, right? But when in a you're in the lobby bar of a hotel with people that you've been getting together with for a decade, like it just goes off.
Sure.
So when you said that's and then in coaching, I'm not doing coaching per se right now, but I haven't gone 2 years without having a coach.
Sure.
And I highly recommend that, whether it's with your team leader or outside coaching. Now I'm more on like the spiritual journey right now.
Sure.
So
I've seen your social. Yeah.
so
Yeah, I mean, I think you always have to have somebody that's there to hold you accountable too. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
think that you start to see some success, and I think that was the good thing about the Tom Ferry coaching of, even though when we thought we were doing good,
yeah,
they put us in check pretty quick and be like, I think, we've been out of that for a few years, and I still, if I'm dealing with an agent that maybe they shouldn't be there, or maybe I should let something go on too long, I can hear the coach in the back of my head, and I'm like,
yeah,
damn it. Okay,
I
it
know.
worked well though. You know what I mean? You need to hear that sometimes. And,
Yeah,
I feel we try to be incredibly collaborative when it comes to what it is that we do. Since joining Compass, there's obviously so many teams over there. And, am happy to share. I would literally sit here and tell you guys, anybody that's watching, everything that we do, because at the end of the day, I don't think most people are going to like show up and do it.
I agree. I don't have any fear of it at all.
Yeah.
Right. I think that the reason I go to the conferences so much is that it gives an excuse to get, and I think, I was on I was Platinum Top 50 agent for 9 years in a row, went to all of those events. And when I got out of production,
How long has that been?
I think there's one on the wall there. Oh, right there. 2021, I think,
Okay.
like 2020,
Okay.
but then I got completely out of production, and I kind of lost that Austin community a little bit,
That makes sense.
and so I kind of missed that in the local scene. I love those events. I probably should just go. But and so I get that through the conferences as well.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
And plus, I want to be around people that have similar structures as mine.
Sure.
So they're getting the leads from they're using the same vendors.
I don't think there's many. I don't know of many boutique brokerages in town that are like yours.
Yeah, not anymore, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel like a lot of them have been gobbled up.
absolutely, yeah. And but people always ask me like, well, when are you going to sell or whatever? And I'm like, I mean, I'm having too much fun. My life's got balance now.
I mean, to me, that is what this is all about. Like, as I've gotten older, and I'm in my 40s now, but that, watching the things that I used to think were so super important. I try to like coach my agents now, because the comparison game in this industry it's cruel. It's a killer. I think, one of the biggest takeaway I think I've ever gotten from a conference was earlier this year. I went to the Compass retreat, and there was a coach that said, you guys are going to stay on this hamster wheel, and you're going to look at everybody around you, and every single year we have to have more and more. And he's like, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be 60 or 70 years old, and everything that's truly mattered in life is going to have passed you by. Yeah. All of the people, all of the things, because you're chasing these numbers. And, I said this on an ABOR panel. Probably shouldn't have said some of the things I said, but like, no one cares about anyone's production at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going home wondering what Ryan and Mike did for volume, and no, they're worried about their own lives and their own things. And so at the end of the day, what really matters, and I wish everyone would listen to this, is just how do you treat people? How do you show up for other people?
Yeah.
Whether it's your clients or your agents or your teammates, whatever it is, like that's how people are going to remember you. The numbers truly don't matter. And I was so caught up about it in the beginning, probably because I had the most immense imposter syndrome you could imagine.
Oh yeah, I still have it. It's crazy.
Of course. I mean, I don't think it ever goes away for anybody. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Kumara, there's always somebody out there doing more business, even if it's in a different city. But you know, I think we get caught up too much in all of that. And I think it's nonsense.
I think, you know, since you just kind of opened that door, I'll walk through it a little bit, but like, you know, I went through some crazy life changes. I got separated and eventually divorced. And I was married for, you know, 21 years.
Yeah, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But thank you. But you know, and then that's when that imposter syndrome came in.
Sure of that.
You know, and like almost everything that was posted on my social media was were clips of a podcast. Very rarely was I posting anything, right? You know, single for 2 years, dating an amazing girl now.
I met her.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's a real estate broker, not with Spyglass. That's always the second question we get, you know. She's killing it. And you know, it's been I'm now at a place where because it wasn't just the separation, it was the 2 to 3 years before the separation. It doesn't like, you don't just get separated. It leads up to stuff, right? And when you're not happy with yourself, it's kind of hard. And I don't want to ever be the guy that's going to say I'm happy when I'm not,
Sure,
or pretend that that I am something that I'm not. So you'll see like more posts of me having fun because I'm actually having fun with good people, you know, and it's hard to get past that.
That balance is important, though.
Yeah.
I think we get too caught up about, like I said, the numbers and the ranking. And like none of that matters, man. It's like, are you enjoying your life? Are you able to have time with the people that matter the most?
Yeah.
Because too many of us are addicted to our phone being attached to us and missing out on the things that matter the most.
Yeah. Yeah, and I, you know, in January is our summit and Realty Hack Summit, and you know the theme of it is reset, and it's also going to be a reset for me personally, spiritually, professionally, in the sense of like next year is going to be a wildly different year for my focus. Like I went through, you know, the 2 years prior to this were total hell. Got much better this year, in terms of getting back on track on the business. And by the way, even when I was kind of in my, you know, misery, that's one good thing about having an amazing leadership team, right? These guys just carried the ship when I was not. I mean, I was never gone, but not mentally there. And so, like, when I look at 2026, I look at 2026 as resetting everything that I can, like I don't have any excuses anymore. I'm happy. I'm working harder than I ever have. Working smarter, not harder, but smarter. I'm back mentally. Tell me what's your goal? You're engaged. You're getting married.
Yeah, we just got engaged 2 months ago in Turkey.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, that was.
And how old are you?
42.
42. You want kids?
Babe. You know, at the end of the day, I think if she wants to have kids, we'll have kids. It's interesting, man. I live a very, very fulfilled life.
Yeah.
I don't I feel like if a kid happened, it would be the best thing. But also, if my schedule is insanely busy and I like it that way, I love to be around friends and family at all times.
Yeah.
My girl would probably tell me we need to chill out a little bit on it just to have a little bit of downtime. But it's what fills my cup.
Me too.
When I work with nothing but like friends and clients, like it doesn't always feel like work. And like, I don't want to say this is a line, but I truly do tell all new clients that, like, because most of it's like from friends, and if they're like-minded, we're probably going to become friends too. But if we're not having dinner and drinks a year after the transaction, I don't feel like I did my job.
Right.
And I don't know that everybody takes the relationships to that level, but it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So like a byproduct of that is I make money. But I'm meeting new people all the time, and I love that.
Yeah, I'm extreme extrovert. So is my girlfriend. Sounds like you are too.
Yeah,
Like to almost to a fault a little bit.
100% to a fault. Yeah.
So on the horizon, 2026,
Mhm.
personal, professional, spiritually,
Sure.
what are you looking forward to? What keeps you up at night?
Man. So we are trying to actually, currently we are growing the team. So probably like to bring on a few new people for the team. You know, I don't have a number. I don't ever want to be like a massive team. I want to keep it small enough that I can manage it. And, you know, Tim and I are going to get back into development. Obviously, it hasn't been like the greatest few years to do that. So we kind of pumped the brakes. But that is definitely going to be something that we dive back into. And so that's kind of for work. My biggest passion right now is my charity event that I have. And I'm really looking to take that to an even higher level next year. I need to,
Tell me about it.
yeah. So it's called Frosty Gives Back. We've been doing it. It's our 9th year. You know, it's incredible where it started. You know, I think in the beginning, people thought my challenge was going from Frosty the bar guy to Mike the real estate guy. And that took a long time to get people. And so when I first threw my first one, I was only a few months into real estate. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, this is Frosty throwing another bar party, because I did a lot of that when I had my venues.
Yeah.
And year one, we had less than $6,000 in sponsorship, and I raised $16,000. We've now raised over $500,000, and I have $120,000 in sponsorship this year.
And what does it go to?
So this year it's going to an organization called LifeWorks. Their whole goal is to eradicate youth homelessness here in Austin.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I've heard of them.
they're about to start break ground on the Works 3, which is their 3rd location, which will house another 120 units for youth and young families to get off the streets.
And so do you pick a different organization each time?
Over the years, I've had multiple different organizations. Ronald McDonald House of Central Texas, Explore Austin, Hope Gallery. And yeah, I think over the years, as continue, we can look into some other options on how we can make more than just Frosty Gives Back and spread the wealth of, you know, it's not just about raising money, it's about raising awareness.
Yeah.
You know, some of my biggest sponsors and donors of this event never knew what LifeWorks was, and now they are a big part of LifeWorks outside of me. And so,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't happen without me bringing it to their attention. And so, you know, it's an incredible event. We'd love to see you guys there.
When is it?
It's December 13th.
Okay.
It's now, you know, I used to always do it at, you know, bars and nightclubs, because they were free venues and my friends would give me 25% of sales, which is great.
Yeah.
But, you know, in my 40s, the level of clientele that we have now coming to this event, none of those people are coming to a charity event of this magnitude at a nightclub. And so I bit the bullet last year and did it at a private event space. And now that's the only way we'll ever do it. Unfortunately for me, it now is a 6-figure event because if we do that. But, you know, it's $100 a ticket, which isn't that bad. It's open bar. It's free food. It is cocktail attire. We have a 12-piece band, full horns, auctioneers for the live auction. We have a silent auction, a ton of roaming entertainment, which there's a lot of surprises this year, so I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
Photos with Santa. The silent auction will have over 100 items. The live auction is incredible. We have everything from a 23,000 square foot house in Tulum with its own nightclub, fully staffed.
Wow.
We have a 10,000 acre exotic ranch hunt that is part of that. 2 tickets to Mark Wahlberg's next movie premiere to watch with the cast, and about 6 other trips. And so we try to make this an event that raises a ton of money and a lot of awareness, but it also is an event that everybody can look forward to, getting dressed up and having a hell of a time with a bunch of real estate professionals and everybody else who wants to show up to the event. Anybody can show up. It's just all tickets can be purchased at frostygivesback.com.
Sounds awesome. Caleb, we got to get this podcast out.
Yeah. Yeah, we should raise $200,000 this year.
Yeah. And where can people find you?
My social media, I'm Mike Frost at Landy Frost Group. You can find me pretty much at any real estate event. You can find me in front of a television on Sunday for the Patriots. I try to be out and about for everything. And so, but yeah, I mean, wherever you want me to be, I'll show up.
Man, this has been a pleasure.
Right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's get to know you a little bit better.
You too.
All right. Thanks, man.